Hello, fellow Star Trek fans. Welcome to our brand new Clonestar podcast show, which is titled Dry Dock. In this show, myself and the wonderful Michael Goodwill are going to be giving the Fanhome series a run for its money, kind of putting it through its paces and to see what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, and what can be improved. So we will be here for at least 20 episodes. Which will be released as and when the magazines and the models drop. So, with that in mind, we are here to talk about issue 1, which is the USS Titan, the glorious Constitution 3 class vessel from Star Trek Picard Season 3. So, let's get into it. Mike, welcome.
Thank you so much for letting me be part of this amazing dry dock, Mike number 1. It is always an honour to sit down and talk about starships.
What else
love starships.
better than yes, exactly. What better to talk about than some ship porn?
The USS Titan.
Yes.
The Titan. Not the Titanic.
I'm trying to think, would that be in a Scottish accent?
I was trying to impersonate Matt Berry, where it's like the USS Titan.
I fucking hate Matt Berry, but there we are. That's a whole nother
Madame Gaga. But yes, we are here to discuss the Constitution 3 / Neo Constitution class USS Titan NCC 80102 Alpha. Very happy. Very excited.
We're gonna break this down into sort of 3 pieces, which is our experience so far, because it's been a bit up and down. We're going to talk about the magazine that comes included in the episode, as well as any other literature that comes in the episode, like the collector's guide. And then we're going to talk about the actual model itself and what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what can be improved, etc. for the model. So with that in mind, let's talk about the experience. So I pre-ordered, I think, within about an hour of it going live. Was definitely not watching the website, constantly hitting refresh. And I have to say, I think the comms from Fanhome lack wasn't made that well. I didn't feel it wasn't made that obvious that they weren't charging you there and then. They were going to charge you a week or so before they ship them out.
This actually pleased me greatly.
Yes, me too, 100%. But
coming from the former Starship collection company, Eaglemoss / Hero Collector, it was very much, we will charge you straight. So if you pre-ordered a model, so I had 2 experiences with the previous company. I was a subscriber.
Yep.
To the Star Trek Discovery collection when that first came out, and I was also an avid consumer from the website, so a lot was pre-ordered from the website. And what fans always found was, hey, this ship's coming in 6 months time, pre-order now. You must pay right away, very much like Master Replicas at the moment with
not too keen on that either at the moment. I mean, it's just like, I was it June, I think, is when I pre-ordered the Stargate. And it's just arrived, and I've also pre-ordered the Atlantis Gate. First off, why don't these people put dimensions? I mean, hang on, I have the box.
It's some might describe it as thick,
colossal
with 2 C's. Yes, but
come on, guys, dimensions. Because now I'm going, shit. Where the fuck am I going to put the Atlantis Gate now? Because now you can't see it, but my entire Stargate shelf is now taken up with a Stargate.
Yeah, some might consider that to be a murder weapon, the way that it was built. But with Master Replicas and the former company Eaglemoss / Hero Collector, you pre-order, the money is taken straight away. So what really pleased me, as well as surprised me, was the fact that they announced the Starship collection and that it would be subscribers only at first. Very much in theme with what Fanhome likes to do. For those that collect the Star Wars starships, it's very much the same. It is the subscribers that get everything first. What pleased me greatly, because I am a poor old boy, is the fact that, hey, you can subscribe now and we will take payment when the ship is ready to ship,
Yeah,
which
means you
is,
can save the pennies.
you can save the pennies, but if there is any delay, no matter what it is or whatever the issue is,
Yeah.
at least Fanhome are going to go, hey, we're not going to take payment for this because it's not ready to ship, which I can really appreciate. They are not just taking a monthly subscription and you're only getting one ship every 2 months or something like
Yeah.
that. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. I do want to ask you, though, about your experience subscribing and being made aware of the subscriber benefits. And I know we've got a collector's guide
Yeah.
that came with the box. But obviously, when we subscribed, one of the things that people were asking was, okay, so I'm a subscriber. What perks do I get as
And
a
there are some
subscriber?
great perks.
Amazing perks for this. But I
So,
just want to ask you about your experience about finding them out.
yeah, I mean, look, they are pretty obvious on the website,
Hmm.
which is a nice touch. I mean, sometimes with these perks, they are buried away at the bottom somewhere and you can never bloody
Yes.
find them,
Yes.
which is great. Um, the only thing I would say is there seems to be, I think, a bit. I don't know whether it's just how they've laid this out
Hmm.
and how they've laid the website out is really confusing because it clearly says on here that gift one is a binder, gift two is the dedication plaque. Dedication plaque for I
Yes.
am super excited for because I have the
Yes.
others on my wall here and I want the Titan. But when you go to the website, it says that you get the binder in package three. Great,
Hmm.
which does frustrate me a little bit that you have to get three magazines in to get the binder to keep your magazines safe.
Well, they've been very clever with this. Now
That
we
annoys me,
know
especially
we
these magazines.
we know Fanhome have well and truly done their research in regards to how Eagle Moss dealt with
Hmm.
stuff and
Yeah.
how Starship collectors behave, shall we say.
Yes.
So if you look at the bottom of the magazine, there is a small print that says items may differ from the images shown here. If gifts become unavailable, they will be replaced by others equal or of greater value. So what we know and what Ben, our friend Ben Robinson, has also confirmed as well, we do have a full list of 20 ships. We
Yep.
do have a full list of the subscriber benefits
Gifts.
here.
Yeah.
Everything is still subject to
To
change.
change. Yeah.
So they have, we look at this and it's like gift one is the binder. So as opposed to what it says on the website, where it's gift three would be the binder, which
No,
would
no, no.
mean,
So what they've done here. So if you when you look at the back of the guide, it says gift
yeah,
one is the binder, which is fine. And actually, when you go onto their website and you look at the gifts, and you have to click on each one, and it tells you
focus.
what it's coming in. I.e., it tells you what. There we go. It will
Yeah,
tell you what package it's coming in. So it does say that package three will come with the binder, which I think is great. What annoys me about this when they go, oh, it's not coming till package three, is what the hell are you supposed to do with your magazines until the third package arrives for you to put your binder in? Put the
yeah,
magazines in the binder. That annoys me.
yeah.
Apparently, the Ractagino mug is also coming in package three, which is fine. But what the frustrating thing is here, clearly says here that gift two is the
Mhm.
dedication plaque, but that's not coming till package 10.
It's
And
very
it just seems to be
confusing.
there's a lot of confusion out there. And I know I've looked
Yeah.
on a lot of the Facebook groups, and a lot of people have all said exactly the same thing. Why is this saying, and it's almost like it's telling you what order these things are going to be coming in?
It would be appreciated and it would make logical sense that the first gift for the Titan would be the Titan dedication plaque.
I think, yeah, sort of like maybe package five, and on package two, the very next one is when you get the binder to put your magazines in, because
Exactly.
like mine, which is very frustrating, and it came out of the box, it is actually ripped
Yes.
through 4 pages, which I'm hoping Fanhome, they have come back to me today, Waitar, saying thank you for your patience, we will get to you. I have asked them for a replacement because I'm not too happy having a ripped magazine, but there we
But
are.
in terms of the experience with Fanhome, and as I previously mentioned, they have done their homework in
Yeah.
terms of how Eagle Moss ran the situation and how Hero Collector ran it, compared to how the fans behaved and reacted to certain things.
Yeah.
Now, it is no myth that Eagle Moss was very blasé when it came to replacement
Hmm.
for broken models, damaged models. I'm no stranger to this. I ordered the Starbase One from Star Trek Discovery.
Yep.
Brilliantly huge model. I got it as an absolute bargain on their website, and it came with no. It came with a black stand, but it didn't come with the mounting, the acrylic
Oh, the
mounting.
Clippies. Yep.
So I said to them, "Hey, I've received this. Can I just please have the replacement for the stand?"
Yep.
I received no response, but the next day I got a knock on the door and I got a complete Starbase One model. So I've got two Starbase One models, one without a stand and one with a stand. Now, this is the way that Eagle Moss used to run things, and this is somewhat, might argue, is why they buried themselves into the ground, because they were
Yep.
just firing out replacement models left, right, and centre. With
But at least you got a
Fanhome,
replacement. I mean,
yeah,
my sarcophagus ship, the head of it was broken off, and they refused to
yeah,
replace it. And the black part of the stand for my Discovery shuttle, it looked like
yeah,
they put too much paint on it, so it wouldn't go. The clear piece wouldn't go into it, and I pushed it, and it snapped, and they
snapped,
wouldn't
yeah.
replace that either. Luckily, super
So,
glue was my friend on both parts, and I fixed it myself. But
so
it was very hit and miss.
But with Fanhome, the Facebook customer service group has sort of nipped this in the bud, and they had a little FAQ posted recently, just before these ships started heading to the UK, about what you need to do if there's slight damage to the ship,
Yep.
if there's a damage to the box, if there's a damage to the magazine, and everything like that. And they are very, some might say, firm with the way
Hmm.
that they are approaching stuff. So, for example, I have seen a lot of people who have received their model of the Titan, and have said the nacelles have come off because the way that this ship is packaged,
Which,
the
ha ha ha
styrofoam,
ha.
yeah. So the styrofoam, as you can see there, does not fully envelop the warp nacelles. So when these packages are in transport, there is a chance, with the very little amount of glue that they use, that the nacelle comes off. Now, Eagle Moss would say, have a replacement ship on us.
Yeah,
Fanhome are going,
glue
use
it
glue.
yourself.
Now, I'm kind of appreciative of this, because they're sort of saying we are not going to do and make the same mistakes that Eagle Moss
Yeah,
did. We are trying to make a profit from this. If it's a little bit of damage like that that can be rectified with glue, do it
please
yourself,
just yeah,
or return the model damaged, and we will send you a new one and we will repair that model. Now,
yeah,
I think that is a much better business model than what
100%.
Eagle Moss used to do. When it comes to the box, they are not at all bothered about the box. If the box
No,
is damaged, it's not
tough.
about the box for a lot of people.
No. I mean, as much as it's nice to have the box, I mean,
Mm.
I keep all the boxes for mine. When I moved house, it was an absolute godsend because I could package
In
them
the
all
loft.
up. Yeah, they're in my
Yeah.
garage at the moment. Or what, 100 and whatever it is boxes that
Yeah.
I've got. So, but I agree. Yes, I mean, how many boxes have you got where the tabs are ripped off? I mean, it's going to happen, and
Yeah.
it's cardboard at the end of the day.
Yeah. And
And I
let's not
agree. I
forget,
think as long as the box is functional,
but let's not forget as well, when Eagle Moss did go under and Master Replicas took the stock, they had to physically inspect every
everything.
single
Yeah,
model. So they had to remove the sticky and put the sticky back on. So
yeah.
I don't know how many you bought from Master Replicas, but they had the same
Mm.
issue. And the box would have a tear, it would
Yep.
have a little crease or anything like that. I don't care.
No.
I am not one of these people where I am going to spend X amount of money on that for an image on a box. I want them
Well,
displayed proudly on my wall of
let's face it,
bankruptcy.
the people that are kicking up a stink because the box is damaged are the people that are whacking them up on eBay trying to resell them.
Which is absolutely atrociously
Yep.
ridiculous
I have
at the
seen
moment.
Titan up on eBay for
Yeah,
£300.
yeah.
What? Anyway,
I
we have kind of drifted slightly because
the
we've
well,
done a lot
I
of
will
Eagle Moss
say,
bashing.
I will say the other experience that I've had with Fanhome that I really do appreciate is, obviously they picked up the license to produce these starships. They
Yep.
also picked up the ability to recreate former models with the molds that they also picked up from
Yep.
the sale. So they have actually approached fans and said, hey, we don't have all the molds, but what we want to do is a limited run of certain ones that are hard to find. For
Yeah.
example, the USS Glenn, the XL Enterprise C, a few other XLs that they've got in the mold that were sort of done in a limited run. Or ones like the XL Cerritos, which, if you were extremely lucky like me, one of the few hundred people that got it, they can redo them
Yeah.
again. And what annoyed me a little bit was this is a company that's willing to do this and they are willing to do this so people can build up their collections. But you saw those people who have got the Enterprise C legitimately up on eBay for £400 as an
Yep.
XL model, kicking up a stink. The people that bought the USS Glenn as a convention exclusive, kicking up a stink because it's going to devalue those models. One, if you are worried about the value of the model, you are not a collector, you are a seller.
Yep.
Two, they are obviously going to use the CBS Paramount Star Trek universe packaging, so
Yep.
it will differentiate between your collectible and the new collectible.
And also, it also depends on where they're manufactured and how they're printed and how they're painted,
Exactly.
and so there's still lots and lots of unknowns for that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I've just logged into my my Fanhome account because I wanted to see if the digital version of the magazine was available, and
Mhm.
there's already a massive mistake on this, which is hilarious. It made me giggle because USS Titan, NCC 80102A, Star Trek Nemesis.
Maybe the first one.
Like,
Certainly not Alpha.
okay. I'm guessing that's a bug, but anyway, just
Yeah.
that. Sorry, that just made me giggle whilst I'm just logging in here. So yes, there's still no
Star Trek fans
digital.
do like to point out a little mistake here
Do
and there,
we?
don't we?
No,
Oh, of course
never.
we do.
But
Do you
no,
remember
look,
when they? Do you remember when they showcased the starships and every starship had USS Titan and it was just the Stargazer was the Titan, the Shrike was the Titan,
Titan.
the Enterprise F was the
Yeah.
Titan.
And then did you see the pictures? I think it was from New York Comic Con where I think it was the Stargazer was upside down.
No, I'm sure a vendor has just gone. Would you like a picture of the underside and has flipped it on the stand?
Yes, exactly.
That's my in head canon for that one.
Fair enough. But look, I think so far the experience has been. I would sort of give it a sort of an 8 out of 10. It's been good. It could definitely be better. I think some of
Yeah,
the explanations on things could definitely be better.
yeah.
Here in the UK, for whatever reason, Fanhome have decided to pick the worst courier known to man, aka Yodel. They're not even the cheapest. That's what I don't quite understand. So I don't quite know why they've picked them. Anyone from Fanhome listening or watching, please change your couriers.
Or
Please,
give us the ability
anybody
to choose.
other than Fanhome. I mean, I would happily pay £5 extra to have it done by DHL or DPD.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. And hey, at least they deliver on Saturdays, which a lot of other couriers don't. So that is also a win.
If you are like me and you live in a new build in the UK, you know the issues that you have with deliveries. At least though there is a silver lining, you can log on to Yodel with the tracking number once it's dispatched and say, hey, would you mind delivering to this store, this petrol station?
Yeah.
So I'm quite fortunate to go
Yes.
to avoid any risk. Please deliver it to my local petrol station. It's only down the road. At least I know when it's there, it's not going to be thrown into the back garden or it's going to be stolen or
Yes,
anything
exactly.
like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky that I work from home, so there is a win from that one. But no, look, I think so far the experience has been pretty good. The only other bugbear that I've had is they took 200 of them to New York Comic Con and sold them there, which I think is a bit unfair for the people that have subscribed and are waiting.
Yeah.
Personally, I think showcase them to hell or high water. I've got no problem with that. But I think allowing them to be sold early for a very select number, I think is a bit off for the rest of the planet that can get them anyway, because obviously it's not available everywhere. I think that's a bit unfair. And then the only other bugbear that I have is that the US seemed to start shipping dead on the 6th of November, and people were receiving them the end of that week. And for us here in the UK, it took an extra fortnight before we even got any kind of payment notification or anything. So I understand
considering
in
they said to us,
waves, but they are two separate warehouses in two separate countries, so there is no reason why they could have done them at the same time.
Considering they said to us subscribers that your ships will start shipping on the 6th of November, and we're sat there in America going, look, I've got my Titan, and then it gets to the 20th
Yeah.
of November,
And
and
not a dicky
nothing
bird.
has been
Yeah.
shipped. And it's going, right, so I'll receive my model when the Stargazer starts shipping out a week later. And
Yeah.
it's sort of, it's a little bit annoying. If you need to
There needs to be some
emphasize,
cohesiveness
yeah,
between the two. You can't
yeah.
have one rule for one country and one rule for somebody else, because I think
Now,
that just pisses people, especially with the days of social media. I mean, look, anybody
exactly, yeah.
that's on the Eagle Moss Fanhome Facebook groups knows this. It's very, very frustrating, because if people are trying to stay away from things because of spoilers and they don't want it spoiled for themselves, when it's plastered all over Facebook and Twitter, sorry,
Yeah.
I am that person, it is still Twitter, and Threads and Blue Sky, it does get a little bit disheartening. So Fanhome,
Yeah.
if you are watching and listening, please, some cohesiveness would be lovely, especially for the next one. Obviously, we know this is the first issue. There are going to be bugs. There are going to be problems.
Yeah.
We get that. We fully understand that. But it would just be nice to kind of,
Yeah.
start with the right foot forward, I think is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think so far the experience is a thumbs up. I would say it's an 8 out of 10 for sure.
I would agree.
So, the magazine. Now, let's face it. The magazine, I would say, is probably 30% of why somebody might buy this or subscribe to this.
Yes.
It is the magazine. Now, I have thoughts. And as a graphic and print designer, I have lots of thoughts. My magazine arrived ripped.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason it was ripped is because the cover is from the same paper as the pages.
Yes. It is not a high gloss cover. And
I would even go one step further and say it's not a high quality magazine. The content is fantastic, but the actual magazine itself is extremely cheap. I mean, mine, I've got streaky print, I've got blurry print, I got a tear. And as someone that the magazine is a nice touch. It's still nice to actually have that extra piece that goes with it.
It's very short as well.
I mean, we said this beforehand, that they could have quite happily combined the two into one magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, what I found is, look, let's start at the beginning, right? The first page is literally a whole bunch of gumph. A whole bunch of, this is who we are and this is where the contact details are. So it's like, well, you can get that from the website. So I don't really get that. What did make me laugh is, warning, any reproduction, even partial, of the contents of this magazine is prohibited without the permission from the publisher. The model and the magazine that accompanies this are strictly for private use within the family, in accordance with Article L1225-10 of the Code of Intellectual Property. Right. Because US law has no repercussions here in the UK, so that is completely and utterly a waste of effort, time, and print. But there we are.
It does fill my heart full of joy, though, to look at the first page and see project manager Ben Robinson there.
Yep, 100%.
That just sparks joy with me, because Ben is a wonderful person. I've had the privilege to meet him a few times, and his dedication to, firstly, the Star Trek fact files back in the 90s, and then the Starship collections.
His dedication to the Star Trek fandom as a whole.
Oh, 100%. His passion is so genuine, and his dedication to bringing these ships, not only in Star Trek, but most franchises, bringing them to fruition, is greatly appreciated by everyone who is a massive fan of starships and stuff like that. But the magazine, one of the issues I have, and this might just be me being blind as a bat, it's the font. The font is very anorexic. It's a very thin font.
I think the other thing that, just on the font and on the typeface, there seems to be very little consistency here with the fandom as a whole. So okay, the best example I can say to this, okay, is we have a font on the box.
Yes.
That font is completely different to the font that's on the magazine, which is again completely different to the font that's on the top of the Star Trek logo, which again is completely different to the T's and C's on the bottom.
Yes.
Which is then completely different to what a different company might be using, which are then it's all just a bit, as someone whose day job as it is to build brands, I'm coming to you, Paramount CBS, for this one. You need to set a font, an unauthorized font library. If it's available in Adobe fonts, every designer on the bloody planet can access it. And it's just really frustrating that you look at this and you look at the Eagle Moss, it's a different font and it's a different typeface. And then you are right, they have picked a font that is, the font weight is so damn thin. And especially like the best example I can come up with here is at the top. I don't know if my webcam is going to focus.
I will. There we go.
I was trying to do it on a black page. You can't. I can't even. No, I don't think my webcam's going to do it. I'll take out some close-up photos.
So there's the ship name there, and then on this side, it does say Constitution 3.
Yeah, but it's so thin, and especially on a black.
Yeah.
I think it's because my face was in it. I was trying to see what was going on.
I'm trying to get it to.
Yeah. Tell you, Mike, can you tell me if that's in focus? Because I can't see because the
It's barely in focus, but this is the thing. Like it's very. So I got this magazine and I read it, and I like to sit nice, cozy, and warm, lights down low, and I had to put a lot of lights on to try and read this, especially the page 4 and 5, because it was just a little. I was struggling a little bit with that, but the actual content of the magazine
is fantastic.
It's absolutely amazing.
Not faulting any of the content. We're just talking here predominantly about the layout and the design. So whoever at D'Agostini, who is the parent company or the private name of Fanhome, whoever is designing these magazines, you guys really need to take a really good look at this. And you would have thought somebody as big as D'Agostini, that's been making magazines for the best part of 2 decades, would actually know what the hell they're doing. Because I mean, they've picked this horrible, god-awful gold font that does have no contrast to black, and you've got it on black pages. So it's, it's very, very, very frustrating that you can't read the damn magazine properly, which is why I was hoping for a digital version so I could actually read it better, on my phone, for example.
I appreciate the stunning renders and the concept art that they've been able to obtain, and especially the photographs of the original Shangri-La that Bill Krause designed for Terry, which is the lovely Bill Krause. Absolutely stunning. My only bit of feedback in terms of this page here, the Starship schematics. Orthos, but it could be schematics. We could have a little bit of tidbits here and there about the actual ship. We could have little diagrams to say this is the RCS thrusters, these are the warp nacelles, deflector dish, or anything like that, just to give it a little bit more.
Doug Drexler did put a very similar graphic out 2.5 years ago, which has all of that on it. So there's no reason why they couldn't have done that and just overlaid the existing, like the renders over the top of Doug's orthos, or just put the labels on there.
But it's in terms of the content of the magazine, and I discussed this with you the other day. I was very surprised to find out new information about the Titan from this magazine that I personally didn't know. And I'm a hardcore Star Trek fan, and I love Star Trek Picard, and I love starships. And I went to Mike #1, and I was like, dude, did you realize this is like this ship's being commissioned? Like it was recommissioned as the Titan A and stuff like that. And
because the space frame stayed the same.
Yeah.
And then they just bastardized everything on top of it. So technically, the bones of the ship are still the original Lunar class Titan.
Yeah.
Which is why it was recommissioned to the Titan A. So that's why it was its second commission. It was then third commission to become the Enterprise G.
Yeah,
so technically she's been commissioned 3 times.
But this was a fact that was not in, like, we knew in Star Trek Picard that the Titan A had elements, and Dave Blass did say, it was part of the space frame, and they used part of the engines and the computer and stuff like this. But this was just like no. They legitimately did a 1701 where they took it straight back to the frame and then rebuilt the frame to become the Connie 3. And I'm sort of really interested because I'm just like, so did they do that for all the Connie 3s, or was this just like a massive restoration project?
Well, I mean, I would, in my brain, this is my brain, so it could be completely wrong. But in my brain, the way that I look at it is that there was no USS Constitution. A. well, you know what I mean, because obviously
Yeah,
there was no USS Constitution 3. You know what I
yeah.
mean? The Titan was was the first that was the
It was
equivalent
the
of,
Pathfinder. Yeah,
yes, it was the
yeah,
equivalent of the it was the first ship of of its class.
yeah.
Um, which annoyingly was one of the things that they take off the
Well,
plaque.
no, well, no.
Actually,
If you
no,
think about it, if you do
yeah,
think about it, like with the Enterprise refit and the Enterprise A, they were not classed as Constitution
no,
2. So there was no USS Constitution 2. It was just literally, here is a ship that we have refitted as the second generation of Connie. When you think about
yeah,
it, but it's a really interesting way that they. I would have liked to have known more about like the in-universe explanation of why it's the Connie 3, and we do get that in other media from Doug Drexler and stuff like that as to why
yeah,
Starfleet went back to this design. I would have liked to have seen that in the magazine so it's more widely known.
hmm,
But I love the background about the design and how it was essentially based on Bill Krause's Shangri-La,
yeah,
that was commissioned for Terry, and Terry was just like, I want this with modern engines, and I love that because as much as we nerd out about starships, as much as we know the designers of these ships, there's always those tiny little tidbits that we will never ever find out. And
yeah,
magazines like this are valuable resources for those little tidbits of information that we would never ever know about.
yeah. No, fully agree with that one. So yeah, I think, look, the magazine needs some work.
Yep,
I'm hoping that either they fix, at least fix the print issues. The print issues
yeah.
is the biggest one for me. Um, I think that it's not the end of the world. As I said, the magazine's probably only 30% of it, and most people are going to read it once, stick it in the binder, and forget about it. So, I get that. So yeah, I think that if they can fix those kind of print issues, then I'm a happy bunny for the next ones.
Yeah.
Um, or I mean, apparently we're supposed to be getting digital versions of the magazine, from my understanding. Then I can
Fingers crossed.
print my own. I can print my own, damn it. So let's talk to the main reason why we're here, which is this stunningly beautiful Constitution 3 model. So this is how it's going to arrive. Oh, hello, let me reopen that lid. This is how it is going to arrive. It is going to come like this. It's exactly the same sort of process that we would have got from Eagle Moss, which is we have the same stands, which I'm super happy about.
This
Although
this
no
is
sticker on the bottom.
this is hands down the best thing that they could have done
Yeah,
for avid collectors like
100%.
me, who has a wall of bankruptcy, as I call my ship collection, that has hundreds of these stands. They didn't go, let's make it completely different. They
Or
just went,
stick a hole in the bottom like Corgi did back in the day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's keep the same stand. But what I do appreciate, and I don't know if it's the same with you, I feel, and this just might be me being crazy,
Well, you are
the
crazy.
acrylic the acrylic base, the acrylic stand, sorry, and the base, they feel slightly better quality wise. It
Yeah,
feels
I mean, what
very
I
rigid, like
yes, I mean,
awkward.
it's a different type of perspex. I know that because
Yeah,
you can tell by the color of the perspex. This cut one, it's slightly thicker than what we would have got from Eagle Moss.
yes,
And it's also got a very slight blue tinge to it, which again I don't really mind. But the only
yeah.
thing that does annoy me is, once again, with these stands, they do end up tilting, and obviously if you push too hard, you are going to end up cracking it.
Mine doesn't do that. Look, it's
Yeah, see,
rigid.
this is one of the things that I've always had with the Eagle Moss stands is
Hmm.
you no two are the same. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be a couple that end up wobbling, wiggling, etc., etc. But anyway, it's a great stand. It just seems weird that there's no sticker on the bottom. But
Cost
hey,
cutting, perhaps.
what
Yeah.
the tenth of a penny that it costs to print a sticker?
I've seen fans begging to get a 1701
Oh,
serial number on the base of their stand,
I know,
so
I know, I
they
know,
will
I
be
know.
sorely missed.
Yep, but there we go.
Yeah.
Fans, we're all bonkers. So
But the main event.
the main event, the model itself, she is. I have the exact dimensions here. Bear with me 1 second.
I've
She
got them
is
right here, yeah.
22 cent. So yes, she is 22 centimeters in depth, in length.
That's 220 millimeters,
Exactly. Don't know what that is
8.66.
in poor currency.
8.66 inches.
Thank you.
There you go.
And it's very much the same as what we would get from Fanhome. Sorry, from Eagle Moss. Sorry,
Yes.
the top of the saucer is die. Now, this is one of my bugbears. It's a die cast model. Well, yes, you are technically correct, but also no. The top of the saucer is die cast metal. Okay.
Yes.
So the saucer, this entire top piece, all the way down to the neck, is die cast. Everything else is plastic.
Yes.
Which is a little bit annoying, because I do feel that it's a little bit of a misrepresentation to say it's a die-cast model. Well, a third of it is die-cast. The rest of it is still plastic. But there we are. But she has some heft. She is quite a heavy little model.
I was very pleasantly surprised.
It's very front heavy. The saucer is very heavy.
Yes, because that's die cast, and the rest,
Yeah.
the main saucer is die cast, the secondary hull, nacelles, pylons, everything else is plastic. So
Yeah, and the underside of the saucer.
There you go. Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Very top heavy. However, the stamp does compensate for that, though, quite well. It does,
yes, 100%. So, look, the model itself, I give a sort of an 8 out of 10. Whilst from a distance, from a glance, she is beautiful.
Yes.
I feel they've cut some corners and they're super obvious. Now, number one is the deflector. I don't quite understand why the entire deflector is just a piece of blue plastic. I would have much preferred it to be a separate piece of painted plastic, personally.
It harkens back to the Bandai days of Star Trek ships in the 90s, where it was just, this bit glows blue, so let's just make the entire section.
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather, if it is, as I said, I would much rather it had been a piece of plastic that was screen printed or screen painted, however they paint these things, with a subtle design that just made it look like the deflector. I mean, that's my only bugbear. Hang on, I can't remember which one it was.
Which one?
It was all of the 32nd century ones. Hang on, I'll grab one.
For
example, on Discovery, which, okay, yes, I do know that this is a Eagle Moss product, not a Fanhome product. I'm just saying in general that to me looks much better having that painted than a piece of blue plastic.
So the community is already well on its way to having modifications for this very model.
Someone has already created a decal set, so you could re-decal this either a custom ship or the Enterprise G, which is a bit dark.
But shall we get to the main gripe that everybody seems to have with this particular model? The saucer section impulse engines right here. Now, I'm trying to get it to... There
we go. So, okay. Typically on a Star Trek ship, the impulse engines are red. Now, I have gone back and looked through tons of source material over the last couple of days and looking at this. What I don't quite understand, and I'm hoping that when I next speak to certain people that worked on Picard, I'm going to ask these questions. But I don't understand why the front of the Titan's nacelles are orange. Bearing in mind they are the same nacelles as Stargazer, and Stargazer was red. I'm not sure. But I think that's where the confusion lies, because when I've looked at the source material, depending on the shot, the color varies from a red to a relatively deep orange.
Yes, it is. It is very much an issue of mine in Picard, where you see the Sagan class, the Stargazer, exactly the same nacelles as the Connie 3, but the Connie 3 has got a different hue to it. However, the impulse engines are a standard red, as we see.
Well, I was just going to say that when I looked at the renders that Doug Drexler put out a little while ago, all of his are red.
Yes. So if we look at here, so the concept art that Doug did,
it's very clearly red. Yeah.
Orange Bassard collectors, red impulse.
Yeah.
The impulse engines, as we can probably see, I'll try and get a better. There we go. So if we look at the impulse engines there on that image, that's where the impulse engines are.
Yeah,
So they're
they're on
off
the
to each
outer
side,
edge of the
outer
slant.
edge,
Yeah,
and there is obviously support beams for both engines.
yeah.
And then for some reason, and I know the fan community has already patched this, but for some reason, this is essentially the way it is. It's one complete unit,
Yeah.
and they're all orange. Now,
Even the support beams and
yeah.
the sort of structure that sits to the inside of the impulse engines, that is, it's almost
Now,
like someone's just got one big orange paintbrush and just gone blop.
now I know some people will say, for me personally, it's not a huge
No,
issue per se because this is going to be on display facing the front. So no one's going to see the back of the ship anyway. But when you look at the amount of detail that they've put in, I mean, what's insane, and we'll get to it later on, but what's insane is like if you look at the saucer section there, look at the amount of detail. You have got
yeah,
the transporter emitters, RCS thrusters with two
yep,
different colours, phaser strips, phaser turrets. You've got ejection hatches, vent hatches,
yep.
even tiny little navigational beacons and everything like that. To then do that, it lets it down a bit. But I am hoping when we get the XLG that may be slightly different.
No. See, I looked at the photo. Well, unless it's changed between New York
The
Comic Con
prototype
and
and
when
that
it
one.
comes out, but the ones that they had on display at New York Comic Con are exactly the same. They are exactly the same. Which, I mean, if this is the top section of this is die cast, so there is no reason why the structure that sits in the middle can't be the
Mhm.
die cast aluminium or the die cast steel, whatever metal it is, and
Yeah,
then the rest of it has two. It almost has two little holes, and the rest of it is, to be fair, clear red plastic like the saucer.
yeah,
That would make all the difference. But
yeah.
obviously, I don't know what the costings are for that. I mean,
No,
and then all you would do is the impulse engines that sit on the side of the saucer, you would then paint red to
yeah.
match.
But I
Um,
mean, that seems to be the biggest gripe
yeah,
with this
yeah,
ship for the fans at the moment. But I know you've got another issue with well, not the design, but with the paint scheme.
yeah. So again, same area of the ship. Now I'm hoping that my webcam will zoom. You will notice here where the impulse engines are. It's missing, and I'm going to put in inverted brackets, Aztecing.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, look, I think it's really difficult because when you look at the ship as a whole, the Titan does have Aztecing. She has
Yeah,
standard Starfleet Aztec pattern. It's very, very subtle on the Titan. It's very subtle.
you can see it on the beauty shots when she's leaving
Correct.
space dock,
Yes.
but
But
it's
that's kind of the
very
only time you really see it. The rest of
yeah
the time, you don't really see it.
it's very reminiscent. Obviously, with that beauty shot, it is very reminiscent of the motion picture, The Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
This is obviously a Connie 3, so they wanted a similar Connie Aztec
Yes.
design for
Yeah.
those shots. But as Mike quite rightly said, the rest of the series, lighting gets in the way and everything like that. So you can't really see the Aztecing all
Yeah.
that well, but it does have it there.
But what Fanhome have done is they've not done any Aztecing, and it just looks like they've splodged grey paint all over.
So I was going to play devil's advocate against Mike here, and I was going to say, look, what they've actually done. So yes, there is subtle Aztecing. We
I'm
whatever.
not. I'm not even going to call it Aztecing. I'm just going to call it
But
texturing. I think.
but I think what they have done, they have very cleverly did what Diamond Select did with the
Yes.
Enterprise B. They have weathered the Starship, which
Correct.
is something that Eagle Moss started to do with the Discovery Collection when they started coming out. So the Battle of the Binary Stars fleet, the Europa, the Edison, even the season 2 Enterprise
I'm going to.
is yeah.
Kerala has Aztecing.
Look for the Edison,
I don't have the
the
Edison.
Europa. There you go. The Europa's a good example. So if you look
No,
at the
the
Europa,
Europa. Sorry, she's very dusty because I haven't. Haven't adjusted this. No, the Europa has Aztecing.
So if you look at, if you've got the Edison, I will try and find the Edison
No,
here.
the Edison is one of the few ships I genuinely don't like. So she's in a box somewhere.
I tell a lie. The Edison also has Aztecing
Yeah.
on it, but I know that the season 2 Enterprise is a little bit dirty, and I think what they've done, instead of doing the Aztecing, which would cost maybe a little bit more to print it, or may take a lot more time to print it, I don't know. What they have actually done is just weathered it to give it the illusion that there's a little bit of Aztecing, but the justification is this is at the time of Star Trek Picard season 3, this is a 6-year-old starship. It is been through this, it's been through that, so it would look a little bit weathered. Now, when we see the Enterprise G, which is essentially the same ship, the beauty shot of the G, there is a lot of Aztecing on display on that there. So, yeah, it is an issue. It's not a big one for me.
No, I'm no way. It's just one of the things that I just thought, if they put Aztecing on there, this would have made it a 10 out of 10, and I would have forgiven everything else, because there are some other subtle points, which is, you'll notice if I move my face out of the way, that they're missing that weathering effect from the underside of the impulse engines, and they're also missing it from the. I'm going to see if I can get it from here.
Yeah.
Which is also just very frustrating. And then also when you look at the top, you can see that they're also missing it from this spine on the secondary hull. So it's just a bit inconsistent.
I'm also going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to come up with an in-universe explanation for this to say that the weathering has been burnt away by the massive impulse engines that it's got on the back.
Interestingly, there's actually they're actually missing a third impulse engine.
A third impulse engine?
Yes, because there should be an impulse engine right here. Not the hump. Not the hump. Sorry, it's not the hump. It's actually
not the
on the
dorsal
spine.
spar.
It's just above the hump.
Oh, you are correct, sir. Yes, it is on the dorsal spine.
Yeah,
right there in red.
Yeah. And there's also a couple of other little points as well. It's just like on the some of the windows are inherently very, very difficult to print, and my light has decided it wants to play silly buggers. That's right. I'm waiting for Nanoleaf to send me a new bulb. This one seems to flicker. Windows are very hard. Eagle Moss struggled inherently with windows, but what I find really interesting is you would have thought the top down would be easy to do. The top down, and so i.e. the windows on the top of the saucer, the windows on the bottom of the saucer are misaligned, but the windows on the side of the saucer are perfectly aligned.
Absolutely top notch, to the point where I have actually got, if you look at the side of the saucer, you have actually got the decals for the docking port. But you are right. If you look on this separate unit here, which is sort of a separation vehicle, as they say in the magazine, focus, there we go. Not all of them are misaligned, but the ones on the side are.
But you would have thought that if you can get them right on the side.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can completely and the same again goes for the secondary hull, the side of the engineering section of the secondary hull. All of those are also misaligned, which, look, I'm being super nitpicky here. This does not take away from the fact that this is an incredible model. And bear in mind, the Connie 3 is one of my favorite ships in the Star Trek universe. I am so happy that we've got a consumer product that's available, because up until now you've either had to do with someone's 3D model that they've then printed on a 3D printer and it's dog shit. There are a couple of very good 3D printed model kits out there, but they are not cheap, and you still have to go through that whole process of putting it together, painting it, and there's a lot that needs to be done. So look, I mean, I'm not taking away from that. She is a beautiful model. I am super happy that I've got, and I'm really looking forward to the G, because it's an XL.
My heart filled with joy when this got delivered, and I was able to unbox a brand new ship and put it on a shelf and continue this collection, because we can sit here and fans will sit here and they will complain Windows are misaligned, Aztecing is missing, this is this. Yeah. But at the end of the day, someone is making these models for people. And, for all their failings, at least Eaglemoss, with the help of Ben Robertson, the helm, and saying we will make everything in existence from Star Trek, they made those ships, and I could be more than happy to put up with a few misaligned windows or a few
100%.
miscoloured engines.
As I said,
To
I don't want
have,
that to take away from,
yeah,
from the fact it is
and
still a incredible model. It's just they are the look, and I think this goes for anything. It goes for like same with cars and houses, and it's the small details that make
yeah,
the biggest difference. And what I feel here is that they've overlooked some of the small details, which just detract us from what otherwise could be an absolutely exceptional model. Now, at the same time, what people are going to say, oh, but you're being too critical and this, that. Yes, I agree. I am being very critical. But at the same time, I'm also looking at it from the fact that it was £37.95 or $44.95. So you have to obviously take into account the price that this is going at. Now, I think if I'd paid maybe £47 for it, I would be a little bit miffed.
yeah.
I think my only gripe is going to be that it's going to cost 71 quid for the XL, and the XL is identical.
Yes.
That's going to be my. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that Fanhome will make the changes that is needed to make that model an exceptional model. But then at the same time, as you have said, the community have already come up with solutions to these problems, and at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that I could spend $10 US on eBay, get a decal set. Someone's already put a disassembly guide up on there on how to carefully take this apart without damaging anything, so you can get in there, so you can crack open the secondary hole, take the deflector dish out, prime it, stick a decal on it if you want to. So look, I mean, if you are that kind of person, by all means, the options are out there. But I think for 99.9% of people, as I said, I'm just being very critical here because of the show, to be fair. 99% of people, it's just an incredible model, and I'm not taking away from that.
What Fanhome would need to do, what Fanhome need to realize, and again, this is not a critical point or a nasty point or anything like that. You have got two very important XLs coming up. You have got the Enterprise F, which we have never had an XL of. We've had tiny little models.
No. We've never had a model of it.
We have.
No.
From Star Trek Online, we have.
I'm ignoring Star Trek Online because yes, it's technically as beta canon. What I'm thinking, we have never had an alpha canon Enterprise F. Yeah. And don't forget, there were a lot of changes made to the Star Trek Online model.
Yeah.
So technically, we've never had this version in a model.
So we have got two very important XLs coming up. We've got the F and we have got the G. Now, people will only probably collect the Enterprises, and they will want a complete collection of the Enterprises. If you were going to do the things that you have done to the Titan, to the Enterprise G, without looking at it and going, maybe we can improve the Aztec and maybe we can improve the paint scheme a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all. If you are going to sit and have a frame and you are going to change the registry number, the name on every single part of the ship, you could at least change the color of the impulse engines. You could at least.
I mean, if they fix the impulse engines, I think that would make the 90% of people that are moaning happy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, but
it's only the 10% of people that are moaning about the fact that there's that little bit of Aztec missing. There's that little bit of few of the finer details missing. But
we have seen the upcoming ships after this, and we have got the Stargazer that seems to have the Aztecan in place with the correct Passat collectors. We have seen the Enterprise F, the actual Alpha Cannon Odyssey class of the Enterprise F, and that looks stunning. We have seen the concept / prototype / whatever model of the Enterprise G. And I am very, very excited for the, hopefully, first 20 issues of this Starship collection. And one thing I wanted to bring up, because I discussed this with you today, when you look at the collector's guide, obviously we've got the Titan, we've got the Helios, we've got the Protostar and the Dauntless. But if you look further down, The list of shows are Strange New Worlds, Picard, Prodigy, Lower Decks, and Discovery,
So I
which
just wanted to just briefly touch on the lower decks. I'm wondering if because they've got a lunar class Titan, that's where they're coming from, maybe.
the Texas class as well they're going to do.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So I'm
And obviously, we,
I'm
we know the Protostar is, I think, issue 17. I think.
it is, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an XL, I believe, as well.
yeah,
Yeah. So we, yeah, I am very hopeful that the magazine will continue past issue 20. I think the demand for these ships is still there because let's not forget these starships started in 2013 mainstream.
yeah,
They were in circulation from 2012. There is still a demand for these ships. All you have to do is go on eBay and look at the demand for these ships.
yep,
Star Trek is still being produced. Ships are still being shown on screen, and
yep,
there is a massive demand for each and every one of them. Not only the ships, the star bases as well, and the shuttlecraft and everything like that. There is a huge demand for them. I mean, if you look at the space dock that Eagle Moss did, that is still in mega demand
yep,
from people. Same with Jupiter Station and Regular One and K7. We have got a brand new space dock.
yeah,
We have got an old space dock with rings around it.
yep. Because
The
yeah, so
Nathan
you've got
Prime.
you've got the new space dock around Earth, and then you've obviously got
Yeah.
the Starfleet Museum at Anthem Prime.
And then you've got space docks in Lower Decks, and
Yep,
you've also got space stations in Discovery
and
and
Starbase 80.
obviously Starbase 80. You've got Starbase 1 with its
Yep,
new environmental domes on it
yep,
as well. There is a lot of potential for this range to go a long
yep,
way. And although there are niggles, and this is the first issue, without the fans' support, without the fans' dedication to
yep.
collect these models, we won't get the ones that we really want. And
No,
this is why Eagle Moss was so successful because we bought them and we bought them and we bought them. And then we're like, well, we're running out now, so we can do this issue, we can do this,
yep,
knowing full well that it would sell. And I am just so happy that Fanhome have decided to continue this. This is a hobby that I love. I have built an
yep.
entire house around them,
I
and
need a bigger office.
I need a bigger house, and I am just over the moon. And long may these ships continue. As long as Star Trek is being made and ships are being designed, long may Fanhome produce them.
Yep, exactly to that. I wholeheartedly agree. So yeah, look, I mean, I think the model itself is an 8 out of 10.
Hmm.
Um, there's a couple of really minor points that they could do to really smash that out the park. But other than that, if this is the way they're going to carry on, I am so excited for the
Yeah,
rest of the issues that are coming out. You know,
take my money.
we've got the Helios, we've got the Shrike. The only one I don't really seem to be that fussed about is the Farragut, to be fair.
I am going to be controversial and say the only one I am not fussed about is the Lunar class Titan because we have had two versions of it already.
Yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
one was
so
lower decks.
I've got the list here. So issue 1 is the Constitution 3
Yep.
Titan. Issue 2 is the Stargazer, the Sagan class Stargazer. Issue 3, um, oh,
Farragut.
okay. I'm guessing the dates changed because this is saying October 24, but I'm guessing they got pushed back. So January's issue will be the Farragut, which again I'm not that fussed
Yeah.
about. It's a bit of an ugly ship.
Yeah.
Then we've got our first XL, which is the Enterprise F.
Yep.
Then we've got the Helios, and then the Shrike.
Hmm.
Which
The
again, both ships that
only
I'm really looking forward to. Although for
the
some reason the Helios looks gold.
the only alien ship as well within the collection is the Shrike.
Is the Shrike? Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, then we've got the Lunar class Titan, which is yeah, okay, whatever. Then we've got the XL Enterprise G. Then
Hmm.
the Excelsior 2.
Really
Um,
excited for that.
yeah, me too. Then the Dauntless, which I'm not too worried about, to be
Mhm.
fair. It's just
Yeah.
a rehash of the NX-01A.
Hmm.
Um, Then the USS Archer, which I can't remember which one the USS Archer is. Hang on, let me have a.
I was
Oh,
I was
it's that one with a single nacelle, isn't it?
it's a single nacelle from the pilot of Strange New Worlds. I was
Yeah.
very surprised when I saw this list that there was one very important ship missing.
Well, hang on a second. Let's just quickly go through the rest of these. Then we've
Hmm.
got Voyager A from
Hmm.
Prodigy, which I'm really happy for. Then you've got the USS Harlan from Picard season 3. USS
Yes.
Harlan? What the hell is
USS
that?
Harlan, I believe that is a it is the Sagan class without the bottom two nacelles. I believe. I may be wrong.
No, hang on a second. Hang on. It says here that the USS Harlan is an Edison class.
Oh, it is the Edison class from Star Trek Online, which was then canonized in season two and season three of Picard.
Yeah, it's almost like yeah, which is just
So
yeah,
it's that
but
in a
upside down.
TNG version.
Yeah, but and also the yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
which okay, I'm not again another one that I'm not really that fussed about. Then you've got the
they're also
Abina class, which is the way that I look at the Abina class is it's a knockoff Sovereign. I'm sorry, it's if the Sovereign and the Excelsior had a love child.
yeah.
Um, So okay, that one's quite cool. Then you've got the Trumbull, which is the Dudestat class, which I thought was interesting that they've picked the Trumbull, not the Intrepid.
Not the Intrepid. This is what I was going to say. It was a very important ship in Picard season three. It
Exactly.
had an imposing presence in that episode. A lot of gifts were made from it, and they went for the
Correct.
Trumbull instead of
Yeah,
the
so
Intrepid.
I'm wondering if there's another reason for that. Maybe they're bringing another Intrepid because there is plenty of Intrepids out there. Or is it just a case that that could change and that could end up being the Intrepid?
Potentially, or they could do an XL Intrepid. We don't know.
Maybe. Then you got the Protostar. Then you got the Gagarin. One I'm really looking forward to is the USS Gregory Jean because we only ever see the Gregory Jean in a concept art from Dave Blass. We never actually really see her on screen. So I'm really looking forward for the Gregory Jean, and and
Mhm.
I think it is a wonderfully designed ship designed
Mhm.
uh by
It's
Doug.
it's
Is it
it's
designed by Doug?
very it's very
No,
reminiscent.
it was designed by John Eves.
It was John Eves, but it was
Yeah.
very reminiscent of it. There's a lot of sovereign legacy design
Yeah,
within it.
it's almost like he took the sovereign and just turned it up to 11
Yeah,
and
exactly.
stretched
Yeah,
it a little bit and just made it a bit
yeah,
thinner and thicker. So, then we got the USS Drexler, which is a Pathfinder class, which
yep.
actually
It's a
whatever.
Voyager B. Yeah, it's a Voyager B.
No.
Oh yes.
Oh,
In
sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
It, yeah.
And then you've got the Texas class, which is the USS Alina.
Uh,
So those
uh,
are the 20 issues that are going to be. I mean, I'm wondering if they will, because I mean, back in the Eagle Moss days, you could skip issues if you weren't that interested.
I hope because there are somewhere I'm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
there's a couple out there that I would rather save the money and just skip them if I can.
Out of
Um,
out of the 20 though, like we know what we're going to get, but is there any that are not there that you would love to see introduced into the collection?
yeah, I mean, if you go from on the Picard theme for a second,
Mm.
you've got the hang on, I have got them in my Star Trek folder. Bear with me one second whilst I go into that folder,
The
followed by
folder is
ship
massive,
renders.
everybody.
You have got the there's obviously the Sutherland class,
Yeah.
which we've never really seen, which is
Mhm.
the Star Trek Online based Nebula. And
Yeah.
then you've got and I can't remember the it's that Sagan class without the bottom nacelles, and I can't remember
Yeah, that's
what the
the one I
class
was on
is.
about that we see at Section 31's
Yeah,
station. We've also got the Ross class, which is a refit-ish Galaxy class, where it's got like a sovereign
yeah,
deflector-ish.
yeah. You got the
Southern
Ross
class is
class.
definitely one. Yeah,
Sorry.
the Southern class is definitely one that we need to see.
Yes. I'm just going to see if I can find it. Star Trek Picard.
I would like to see the
Um,
Norway class from the
yes.
lower decks.
Yeah, I can go with that one.
Yeah,
Um, and then I would love to see a new space dock, Anthem
yeah.
Prime. Um, I mean, I would really like to see the NX-01 refit.
Yes. because that
because
was only
that
a
was
limited
at
run.
Anthem Prime.
Yeah.
And I know I don't think did we ever get the HMS Bounty with Eagle Moss?
Yes, we
Did
did with
we?
landing gears. Yes, it was the wings up bird of prey,
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
but it was only a very small model though.
Yes. So it would be nice to get a yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I had to think about that one then. But yeah, it
yeah,
would be really nice if there was maybe a decent HMS Bounty.
yeah. I agree.
Um But I think, and then there's obviously there's a bunch of ships. Fun. This is going to be controversial because it's Discovery, but there are a bunch of ships in Discovery that never got done. We never got that Constitution refit. We never got
USS Armstrong.
the
Yeah,
USS Armstrong. I'm trying to think what else was in. Obviously, Starfleet headquarters would be another one that make a great model.
Starfleet
But
headquarters. We got a few from the final season of Star Trek Discovery. We hadn't really got the yeah, there is a few Starfleet starships that were planned by Eagle Moss that never came to fruition, and I
yeah,
think that will be. This is why I'm sort of leaning into why Discovery is mentioned in the Fanhome PR
yes,
stuff, because if this is successful, they will sort of plug that gap uh, that sort of dropped off with season 4, because obviously Eagle Moss went under in 22.
yes.
So
Yes,
there was
because
that
I'm just
gap.
going back through the early press stuff that they sent out, the CBS sent out when it was CBS All Access. Yeah, the
Yeah,
USS Annan, which is a Saturn class, we never
yeah,
got to see. There was never a model of that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's a whole host of ships from Discovery that I would really like. I mean, as you can probably see, I have
yeah.
some. The rest of them are in there. But yeah, so I'm hoping that we might get some of those. It would be really nice to get them.
Hmm.
Especially that the Armstrong. The Armstrong is a beautiful ship.
Absolutely.
And there's
You
also
need
that one that's got the really, really long nacelles.
Discovery.
Yeah, no. It's
I know
it's
what you
just
mean.
a saucer with two really long nacelles that stick
That
out the
has
back
been
of it.
nicknamed the Halo Sword
That's the
Starship.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
And then there's also that quad nacelle ship that we saw that we don't
in
actually
season
know
5.
what class it is. Oh yeah, we do. It's the Merian class.
Yeah, that was in
But
season
again,
5 of Discovery as well. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose look, the problem with the 32nd century Discovery is floating nacelles are a bastard.
We knew this was a challenge when Eagle Moss started doing them,
Mm.
and they had ways and means, and they decided to go with the wrong way. And
Go on, how would you have done it then?
I would have done it. So if you look at the Discovery A behind you,
Let
I
me grab
would
that.
have. Yep, bring that.
Show
So
me it.
this is how I would have done it. So if you turn it that way there, so you see where the port and starboard nacelles connect there. I would have literally had them connected with just a clear bit of translucent plastic.
Got the runs
Um,
through.
yeah, straight through, and just
So
give the illusion, because
on
having
that,
an actual clip
yeah,
spoils it for me.
I agree. But when I spoke to Ben about this, because I did speak to Ben about this a little while ago. Um, so okay, so Destination Star Trek London 2021.
Hmm.
It's the first time I met Ben, and I had probably a good 40-minute conversation with him because I was
Yeah,
moaning at the time that the Voyager dedication plaque was nowhere to be found. It was out of stock everywhere, and no one had stock. And he was adamant that they never had any, and yet for some reason, Master Replicas had tons of them. Anyway, that's a whole nother story for another day. So I was talking to him about that, and he said the biggest problem they had with that, because they tried it, was shipping.
really.
The biggest problem they had, because they tried magnets. They tried magnets
Yeah,
to make them float. They tried pieces of plastic that just came out the bottom, like a sort of a brace that he kind
yeah.
of clicked into. The biggest issue they faced was durability for shipping. And that was why they ended up with this solution, was because of how thin
Yeah.
that sort of it's not really a pylon, but you know what I mean. How
Yeah, oh, yeah, I
thin
know what you
that
mean. Yeah.
part
Yeah.
is, there wasn't really any other way to get them and to kind of give that kind of floaty look. Because
So
to be fair, when you see it from a distance, it does look floaty.
the lesson is though, do not make starships with floating nacelles.
Yeah.
because your merchandise will take a tumble.
Yes, but as we know, Paramount don't care about merchandise.
Well, I think that's a great way to wrap up this show.
Paramount, we love you dearly. Please sort your
We
merchandise
do.
out.
We
No, actually,
love
to be
you,
fair,
buddy.
on that note, Paramount's new shop is very good, and they've actually got a lot of really cool new merch on there. So it looks like someone's actually taken the Paramount bashing that's been going on for years and years and years to actually heart and actually deal with it. But come on, please give us an official uniform shop.
Please do. Please.
Um, my only other niggle, and this is a
Mhm.
really, really subtle side note. I think it's gift number 4, dubbed the Turbolift Akudagram. Ironically, was one of the few pieces of L cards that was never actually touched by Mike Akuda.
They've just named it the Akudagram when it's
Yes,
just L cars.
that actual piece of L cars, the ship was actually created by Jeffrey Mandel. So the
Yep.
ship graphic was created by the lovely Jeffrey Mandel, and the L cars and everything was all put together by the wonderful Andrew Jarvis. And I just think that it's I did actually go. I actually messaged a friend of mine who personally knows Ben Robinson and goes, "Would be really nice to change that, just because I think it's a little bit misleading."
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
But there we are. So yes, that's my only other gripe. But hey, it is what it is.
Yes.
Oh yes, because we're going to get 2 Pathfinders, aren't we?
We are.
Why?
I love John Eves.
Oh, I love John Eves.
I,
Don't get me wrong. I love John
I'm
Eves.
going to have a USS Eves. Give me a USS Drexler.
But that's also the Pathfinder class.
Give me a USS Drexler. I want every man on a ship. So okay, so I want an Eves, I want a Drexler.
Well, they're both
Blast.
Pathfinders.
Give me the shuttlecraft blast from Star Trek Online as well. Give me that as well.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
Type 14. Type 14 shuttle blast.
Well, then okay, but that's it's a very good. That's one that's missing. Type 14 shuttlecraft.
Yeah.
And it needs to be the same size as the Discovery one, decent size.
Yes. Chunky.
Yes. Chunky.
Right.
So look, Mike, thank you for joining me on this very first episode of the Dry Dock, part of the Clonestar podcast. Thank you for everybody who is watching and listening at home. You can check out more Clonestar podcast on our website, clonestarpod.com, and you can also join our Patreon from as little as £2, $2, or €2 a month. And look, we're not in it to make money. The only reason our Patreon is there is just to help with costs. Website costs money. None of us make any money from this at all. And our Patreon is purely there just to help keep the lights on. And unfortunately, some guests want money to come on the show, and we obviously want them to tell their stories. Obviously, we want to speak to them. We want you to listen to them, and the only way that we can get them is to give them some moolah. So unfortunately, some gold press latinum. So unfortunately, things cost. So if you would like to show support, please use the link in the video description below to join our Patreon. As I said, it's £2 a month, which is practically nothing. But that £2 means the absolute world to us. So yes, there we go. For everyone else, we will catch you in the next episode. But until then, live long and prosper, my friends.